We believed it was critical to get auto-enrolment on the client's agenda very early doors. In fact, we started the process some 18 months prior to their staging date. Look, clients don't do pensions, and they're busy guys, and I think also that getting any kind of employee benefit on the agenda is never easy, but I think we made it clear to the client very early on in this case that this legislation had teeth and the consequences of not adhering to it were significant. The other thing was about the amount of resource that was going to be required from the client. It cut across a number of their divisions: HR, payroll, finance. So we wanted to set out, what that landscape and destination looked like for them, so they would resource it properly.
We started planning for automatic enrolment with Cooper and 80Twenty really since the scheme was placed with Scottish Widows. So the scheme was placed in 2008 and we had annual governance meetings every year thereafter. So as far back as 2009 we were having discussions on automatic enrolment. But the real focus planning started in February 2012, a full 18 months before their staging date, where the head of HR for Cooper and all the HR directors came to Edinburgh with 80Twenty, and we had a full day session really understanding the rules and how it would impact their business.
There were varying decisions that Cooper Eaton had to make with regards to auto-enrolment. We had to look at the tiers, the costing, how our systems were set up to take on auto-enrolment. We also had other pension schemes and pension providers that we needed to bring into line. So we moved those out of the current providers and moved them into Scottish Widows. We're a shared service in Doncaster for payroll across the UK. We have 14 sites, so obviously this causes issues communicating, making sure that all the payroll is set up as it should be. We have also involved HR heavily.
The easiest thing in the world to say is planning, but that doesn't really answer the question, I don't think. It's taken an awful lot of time, effort, thought, resource to get us to where we are. It's been important that Cooper Eaton have provided the right resource to us. I think the most important factor, as far as I'm concerned, is that we've had dedicated resource from Cooper. We've had dedicated resource from Scottish Widows. I guess, from our perspective, it's been about knitting all these parts together. It's about understanding not only what needs to be done, but when it needs to be done and who by.
Defining the roles and responsibilities for this project was really important because everyone's got a key part to play. So at Cooper, the initial stage of this was undertaken by the HR team. So things like making decisions on contributions going forward and the postponement period, these were all made by the HR team. Once these decisions had been made, the responsibility for delivering automatic enrolment was passed to the payroll manager, Kerry. This was a really good decision because most of the processes within the business that will be impacted will fall naturally into the payroll team. So Kerry was able to understand quickly what would impact her team and how she would deal with that. And Kerry became my key contact for gathering the requirements to deploy our software solution, Assist Me. At 80Twenty, they continued to offer advice to the employer and the members throughout this time, and also taking on issues such as how does salary exchange work alongside automatic enrolment.
Our payroll systems were in general not in a good position for auto-enrolment as we're pending an upgrade. This made us decide to go the whole way with Assist Me through Scottish Widows, purely because we didn't want to encounter any problems with the current system and the upgrade that was happening within Cooper Eaton.
For automatic enrolment, there's much more detail required to ensure that you're delivering the right solution. So for example, Cooper actually have 12 businesses with different payrolls within that. So we had to understand what was the best model to make them comply. And through working with Kerry and Neil at 80Twenty, we were able to understand that we'd have to redesign the scheme slightly. So we've created new sections within the pension scheme, and they're going to submit files to us in a different way going forward. So really understanding, gathering requirements and understanding their business was really important and quite a big challenge.
I think the biggest lesson that we've learned with this auto-enrolment project with Cooper Eaton is that I guess first of all, from the IFA perspective, is that there is no template for this kind of work, and what we've done here will not necessarily translate into the next client. It just doesn't work like that. So it's to ensure that you do your homework early doors to get the client on board, to understand their situation and position. And I think the technology and data is a huge part of this.
Managing data and having clean and accurate and consistent data is the key to success here. You're having to supply a lot more data than you have in the past as an employer. So if you get that part right, the rest should fall into place.
When auto-enrolment first came out, obviously an employer would think what a headache this would be. Scottish Widows, obviously the people that know more about pensions than anybody else and have made this whole process a hell of a lot easier. We've taken on board what advice they've given us, along with 80Twenty, which has made the whole process much easier.
I think the support that we've had from Scottish Widows, quite frankly, has been nothing short of fantastic in this particular case. It's been really important to have dedicated support, not only from the client who buys into the project to provide the resource, but also from the provider. Look, this is completely new legislation, new technology, different kinds of data that you want. So it's so important to make sure that every I's dotted and every T's crossed. And Scottish Widows and Alex has been fantastic in ensuring that that detail has been done to deliver that successful conclusion. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how it's gone, that's for sure.